Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's session. My name is Danny, and I'm the event planner for the New York Reactor. Before we begin, please take a moment to review our code of conduct. We seek to provide a respectful environment for both our audience and presenters. We encourage engagement in the chat, but please be mindful of your commentary, remain professional, and on topic. Useful links will be shared in the chat. This session is recorded and will be available on demand in 24 to 48 hours on the Microsoft Reactor YouTube channel. Which brings us to today's session. It will run for approximately 1 hour with times for questions throughout. I will now turn it over to our speakers for introductions.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today at this Microsoft Reactor session. We are thrilled to be here with you to share something we are truly passionate about, AI-powered development experiences with Fabric Data Factory. My name is Fatima, and I'm a product designer working at Microsoft Fabric. I'm joined by my amazing colleagues, Connie and Miguel. Our team has been reimagining how data integration can feel more intuitive, intelligent, and accessible, especially with the power of AI. Next slide, please. But let's set some context. We are the team working to create excellence in data factory experiences, from best in class connectivity to data movement, orchestration, and transformation, all of which is powered by AI intelligence and Copilot experiences. You'll see our team's work come to life, especially in pipelines, data flows, copy job, mirroring, and now Apache Airflow as well. Over the next hour, we'll take you behind the scenes of how we're transforming Data Factory into an AI and Copilot enhanced platform. Next slide, please. As we kick things off, let's take a moment to zoom out and look at the broader momentum behind conversational AI. We are in a transformational moment where talking to machines is becoming just as natural as clicking or typing. By 2026, 30% of work activities involving the use of technology will be conversationally enabled. Another statistic says that by 2026, conversational artificial intelligence deployments within contact centers will reduce agent labor cost by 80 billion. And we have many more statistics like that. The wave isn't coming, it's already here. And at Microsoft, we are designing tools like AI experiences and Copilot in Data Factory to ride that wave with intention and clarity. Next slide, please. In today's world, in Fabric Generative AI, we are helping users move faster and smarter across their data journey. We are doing this through two key experiences: AI and Copilot Accelerated Experiences, now generally available, lets you build and debug with natural language, simplifying complex tasks. And Fabric Data Agents, in public preview, help you connect, automate, and orchestrate across systems with ease. Next slide, please. One of the most exciting updates we have to share today is the Copilot and AI capabilities that are now being unlocked across all paid Fabric SKUs. This is a huge step in making AI more accessible to everyone, whether you're a small team just getting started with Fabric or an enterprise scaling data operations. You now have the same intelligent tools to accelerate your workflows and reduce complexity. Next slide, please. Now that we've talked about the momentum and accessibility of AI, let's take a closer look at how it actually comes to life in Fabric Data Factory. On the left, we have AI-powered experiences that help you automate data extraction from unstructured sources like web pages or documents, all backed by Azure AI and Azure AI services. And on the right, Copilot in Data Factory helps you build and refine pipelines using just natural language, making data development faster and more intuitive. To walk us through these capabilities in action, I'll hand it over to Miguel, who's going to demo some of the most exciting AI-powered experiences available today. Over to you, Miguel.
There you go. It's always been. Sorry, guys. So my name is Miguel. Thank you, Fatima. I'm gonna be talking about what are the experiences that we have today inside of Data Factory. So what you're seeing on screen right now is what we call the column pair suggestions in Dataflow Gen 2. If you've used Parkway before, you're probably familiar with the merge operation or combine operation. And this one allows you to just combine two data sets that you have, two tables. And what we're adding with this is effectively the suggestion at the top right that you can see on screen. So you can actually map the columns from both tables. And we try to give you suggestions on that. So that's what we call the column per suggestion. And these are more contextual to the dialogues that we have within data flows. So we have more and
Well, I'll just pick up where Mike left off. Unfortunately, it looks like his network has dropped, but I'll go ahead and talk about some of our AI capabilities inside of data flows. So all of these items aren't necessarily Copilot. These are more so suggestions that are AI powered, which makes data flows especially easy for you to use. Not sure how much you guys caught off of Mike's column pair suggestions, but basically inside of data flows, you're able to merge columns. And instead of selecting your own tables to merge, there's actually going to be column pair suggestions to give you exactly suggestions on which dialogues to merge between columns, between your tables. And we've got another example for adding a column from just an example. So all you got to do is provide one example. For example, here I'm providing the name of the contact and then their title. And from the format of just one example, you can automatically fill out the rest of the columns based off of the first sample that you provided, which is a super cool feature that saves you time and energy when you're creating your data flows. There's also something called fuzzy matching. This is pretty much when you have something typed in and maybe it's not spelled 100% correctly. For example, you'll see on the left-hand side, we've got some words like watermelon, 2 words, apple, 1 P, water, min, melon, just a bunch of misspelled words, but with fuzzy matching, Power Query will automatically adjust these to be correctly spelled. It'll know what you're talking about, and you can even adjust all of these items inside of settings, such as the similarity threshold. You can adjust it to see basically to combine all of the apples into one category, all of the watermelons into one category, all of the bananas into one category, and etc. And you can also have tables by example via your text files or CSV files, which means you can extract any data from your CSV files. All you have to do is just make sure you specify the sample outputs from the source, and it automatically grabs all of that and puts it into the Power Query editor. This is super helpful, especially because sometimes the CSV files are super long with thousands of rows, and all you have to do is enter one, and the rest of the content should be automatically generated. And you can tell which items are automatically generated with the little light bulb icon. And then you can also do the same thing with the extract data from the web by example. This is offered in the Data Flows Gen 2 item. Pretty much the same idea of what's happening in the text file CSV I just showed from the previous slide, but now you can do it from a web source as well. And now we're going to be talking about our Copilot offerings in Data Factory. What I just covered are all of our AI-powered experiences, which helps automate some of the common tasks inside of data flows. But we also have chat box functionalities inside of our Data Factory items like pipelines and data flows, which allows you to pretty much use natural language to orchestrate and transform your data. And I think Mike is back, so if you wanted to take over, feel free to do so.
Yeah, I think that this one is for Fatima. Sorry, I was having some internet issues.
You're all good. Sure. Let's bring Fatima on the stage.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for covering up for the technical gap, Connie. So as Connie introduced, Copilot, your personal AI assistant across all our data integration capabilities. It offers you help exactly when and where you need it. The core values and principles that we are basing these AI experiences on are making it more and more predictable. We want this assistant to be predictable in solving your complex problems, focusing on the task that you want to perform while not worrying about the details of how. It is also something that we aim to be non-intrusive so that it doesn't disrupt your flow. Next slide, please. This means that no matter where you are in your flow, whether you are deeply exploring a navigation bar, searching for a tool in the ribbon, or deeply lost in a dialogue, AI Assistant is there with you. The in context support follows a familiar pattern, aligning with the one Microsoft promise, with gentle nudges always there when you need it. Let's start with some examples. Next slide, please. Now, these examples, we'll get more into the details of it when my colleagues Connie and Mike will share the demos, but we can see how these experiences appear more in contextual. Considering this example of pipelines and a similar example in data flows, you can find Copilot entry point easily in the ribbon. The assistive entry point delivers on the spot help, making it easy to access from anywhere in your workflow. Whether you're starting with a blank canvas or using a template or are in the editor, we have the Copilot always within reach, like having a teammate on standby, ready to help. Next slide, please. A more subtle version on the top, if you see, is a Copilot Nudge, where it intelligently suggests actions based on the activity that you're performing. For instance, in this case, it's suggesting you to summarize the pipeline if you're not visiting it for the first time. These nudges show up contextually, they're helpful, but they don't intend to be disruptive in your flow. Next slide, please. Another example of how we design the experience differently is in the form of an inline widget. An inline widget is a component of Copilot that facilitates contextual content generation within an app, canvas, or a dedicated space. You can consider it as a mini version of Copilot side chat. Next slide, please. Extending this to the example of custom columns and data flows that my colleague will demo shortly, you can see the widget seamlessly fit into the dialog experience without you having to switch context to an alternate space. That means the Copilot capabilities are there in the moment, in the same environment where you're currently editing. Next slide, please. Now that you have seen how Copilot is embedded right into your workflow, whether it's contextual nudge or through the ribbon, let's take a step back and look at the full picture. Copilot helps you generate data flows and pipelines, summarize complex logic, speeds up integration with sample queries, and even explain errors in suggested fixes. It's designed to support you end to end, from building to debugging, all within your flow. Now I'm going to hand it off to Connie for some exciting demos.
Yeah, I'm really excited to share how Copilot is transforming the way we build and manage data pipelines. Today, we're going to walk through the Copilot AI experiences that are generally available today in Copilot data pipelines. So you can actually try out everything I show you guys today. Before we dive into details, I want to show you guys a quick look at the 3 core Copilot experiences inside of data pipelines. So first, there's Copilot, which can help you generate a pipeline just by describing what you want in natural language. Second, there's a Copilot that can help you explain error messages. So instead of the cryptic and sometimes confusing logs, you get clear, actionable insights for error messages. And third, Copilot can even help summarize your pipeline, giving you a high-level overview of what it does. This is great for documentation, handoffs, or just understanding what's going on inside of your pipeline. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at pipeline generation with Copilot. When you describe your pipeline to Copilot, Copilot interprets it and scaffolds a pipeline for you. You can ask anything to Copilot. Some example prompts I've seen in the past are things like, ingest customer data from Azure Blob and join with product data from SQL, or please connect the copy activity to the stored procedure step, or move all copy activities into a loop. It handles the structure and even the connections if you provide them. You can then review, tweak, and actually deploy your pipeline. We've added an awesome enhancement to Copilot, so now you can even update multiple pipeline settings like the timeout and retry parameters across multiple pipelines at the same time. This enhancement should be available in all regions by next week. Copilot generation saves time, reduces manual errors, and helps onboard onto projects faster. It's especially powerful for prototyping or when you're working with unfamiliar data sources. Even for veteran pipeline builders, it's faster to use Copilot to get your activities laid out on your canvas. Now let's go ahead and see the generation of a pipeline with CoPilot in action. And let me know if you can hear my screen. I just want to make sure it's all working. Let's walk through a demo of how CoPilot can generate a pipeline from a natural language
prompt, even one with conditional logic and notifications. So I've got this brand new pipeline. It's completely empty, there's nothing on the canvas, and I don't really know where to start, but I kind of have an idea of what I want to happen inside of this pipeline. I'll start by opening up CoPilot and typing in a prompt. I need to wait 3 seconds before running another pipeline. After that pipeline runs successfully, I need to be able to run a data flow. If the initial pipeline fails, I want to be notified via Outlook. So even with this prompt that has a typo and no capitalization, CoPilot still understood what I was asking for. It created a wait activity, an invoke pipeline activity. On success, it runs a data flow, and on failure, it runs an Outlook activity. So I didn't provide any of the details besides the wait activity of waiting for 3 seconds, which CoPilot got. I gotta go back in and fix all of the needed details. For example, I've had to choose which pipeline I actually want to invoke after those 3 seconds are over. So I'm going to go ahead and configure all of these. Configuring activities is super easy once they're laid out. It's really a matter of filling in the blanks. We can double check that we've got all of our items inside of our pipeline correctly filled out by the pipeline validation output. CoPilot prompted me to run this pipeline. Let's go ahead and test out this pipeline and see if it works. What's really powerful here is that CoPilot not only understands the sequence of actions, but also the conditional branching and integration with external services like Outlook. This kind of automation used to take multiple steps and careful configuration. Now it's as simple as describing what you want in plain English. As you can see, my pipeline failed, and I got an email telling me, hey, this pipeline failed, which is exactly the behavior we were expecting from this pipeline. You might have noticed that in today's example, I went through and configured the settings for a lot of my activities, and that's because I didn't provide any details in my initial prompt to CoPilot. If I had provided those prompts, CoPilot would have automatically configured my settings. But again, it's just as easy to configure the settings with the click experience inside of pipelines. I want to show one more awesome feature that we've added onto our generate pipeline capability. So if we look into our data flows, we'll see there's options for timeout and retry. So we can actually update these after we've asked CoPilot to generate our pipeline. So I'm going to ask CoPilot to update the timeout period to 10 hours. And also set retries to 3. Without even having to specify which activity I wanted to update, look at that. The timeout has been updated to 10 hours and the retries has been updated to 3.
Next, with CoPilot. We know it can be frustrating to debug pipeline failures. Sometimes the error messages can be super long and confusing to understand. This has been a long-time customer struggle, and it's something that our team is currently working on. Starting off with CoPilot. CoPilot helps interpret the error messages and explains them in an easy-to-understand format. But Copilot doesn't just tell you what's wrong, it also tells you how to fix it, which is arguably the most important outcome of debugging pipeline failures. For example, if a data mismatch occurs, Copilot might suggest casting or checking schema alignment. It's like having a seasoned data engineer on call with you at all times. And let's go ahead and jump into a demo of the AI Assistant. Let's
walk through a common scenario where Copilot's error message assistant can save time and frustration. Right now, I'm in Monitoring Hub, and I filtered for all data pipelines that have failed. We just ran a pipeline that failed, Copilot Pipelines demo test, so let's go ahead and take a look at the error message. I'm seeing in the details that the pipeline had an execution error based on operation on target functions 1 failed. So actually, this error detail isn't too bad. Let me just show a quick example of how gnarly some of these error messages can be. Let's go ahead and try ideas pipe, for example. As you can see, this error message is super long. It's got some information that's kind of confusing. I'm going to go ahead and summarize this error with Copilot. Okay, now I've got a quick and easy understanding of why this pipeline's failing. It seems to be failing because of an expired refresh token caused by inactivity. Let's go back to the Monitor Hub and try our previous pipeline that we've been working on. I'm going to go ahead and click the Copilot icon for error insights here. I've got a quick and easy summary of what the error is happening and recommendations on how to fix it. So I'm going to go ahead and start with step 1, which is ensuring the connection property is provided. So I'm going to go ahead and click Update Pipeline, just so I can go ahead and edit my pipeline. And you'll see the Copilot chat is still here, so I can refer back to it. I see that I'm invoking a pipeline called conchu-udf, so I'm going to find that in my workspace. Here it is. Just as a reminder, we want to ensure that the connection property is provided. Oh yeah, I'll see here that my connection is actually missing. Let's go ahead and fill this out. And let's save this pipeline. Now let's run it. We see now that it's succeeded, so our error suggestions worked. So this was a great example of how Copilot helps you. You can understand cryptic error messages, pinpoint the root causes of errors, and resolve issues faster with confidence. Whether you're new to pipelines or managing dozens of them, this feature helps you stay productive and focused.
Cool. Let's finally look at summarization with Copilot. Copilot can read your entire pipeline, including the details in each of your activities, and generate a summary that explains what the pipeline actually does step by step. So you'll get an overview of what your pipeline is doing as a whole, and also descriptions of what each activity inside of your pipeline is doing. We've got a couple of enhancements here that are coming out just next week. Each activity summary within the pipeline is now linked to allow you to directly connect to the summary to detailed activity information. You can also effortlessly document your pipeline with Copilot's summary for both your pipeline and also the descriptions in each activity. This means the description Copilot generates for your pipeline and its activities can be saved directly in your pipeline. You'll be prompted to confirm your pipeline descriptions if you do choose to save these descriptions with Copilot. Copilot is incredibly useful for onboarding documentation or just getting a quick understanding of a pipeline that maybe you didn't build. It highlights the sources, the joins, and outputs, all in a concise, readable format. So let's go ahead and see that in action. Now let's
see Copilot in action with the Summarize Pipeline feature. So I have this pipeline open that somebody on my team created. I need to figure out what it does, but it has a few activities and conditionals in it that I feel like would be kind of complicated to understand. So instead of manually reading through each activity to understand what this pipeline does, I'll simply ask Copilot to summarize it. And here's what Copilot gives me. This pipeline performs a series of data integration tasks involving setting a file directory, retrieving metadata, iterating over files, copying data, and refreshing a data flow. Cool, I can even see exactly what each activity does. It's concise, accurate, and incredibly helpful, especially when you're onboarding to a new project or reviewing someone else's work. Okay, so I get what this pipeline is doing now. Let me go ahead and save the pipeline descriptions so that way I can go back and understand what's happening faster than before. Together, these tools make it easier to understand, maintain, and collaborate on pipelines without needing to reverse engineer every step. And I can double check that the pipeline description is up to date by clicking here. And I see now I have a great summary of what this pipeline does.
Cool. And that's all for Pipeline's Copilot. Now I'll pass it on to Mike to talk about Copilot Experiences and Data Flows Gen 2.
Awesome. Thank you, Connie, and really apologize for the network issue that I had before. So this is Act 2. This is my second chance. I hope that you're going to enjoy this. What you're about to see is effectively things that are generally available today, and also things that are going to be shipping pretty soon. So let's start with the first one, and this is the Copilot integration that we have currently with data flows. What you see right now on the screen is this pane that we have on Copilot, and you can pretty much ask anything that you want. It can help you generating transformations query. It can help you creating just new steps to existing queries, or it can help you with more metadata-driven approaches where perhaps you want to just summarize the existing query, or you want to get an explanation of what this query actually does. And yeah, so this is something that is currently generally available. So we completely welcome you to give this a try and see what you can come up with. We've seen some generally really creative approaches to Copilot, and we're really interested to hear what you have in mind and how you actually approach this. So yeah, so this is Copilot in Dataflow Gen 2. And if we go with the next slide, we're going to show you something about how we try to integrate Copilot within the dialogues and the experiences that we have within the data flows. Let's go ahead and click on that video. There we go.
With something, I'm in a bit of a situation. I was tasked with something that is a little bit complex. This is a complicated logic that relies on the data that I have in this table. So this table has order ID, has a quantity column, category, and then the total. I'm tasked with creating a new column that can actually implement a discount based on the quantity, category, and the total. So how can I do that? So I have a couple of ways inside of Power Query. I can go here and add column, and perhaps I can also use something called conditional column. So I could potentially leverage this, but what happens is that this may be a limited experience for this specific scenario, which is a bit complex, which requires N and other operators that I need. I can take the custom column approach and I can write my own custom formula. But if I'm new, I'm not the best when it comes down to the Power Query formula language, then perhaps I'm not going to be able to. However, I now have a new entry point in this custom column, which is a Copilot feature. This is what we call natural language to custom column. So what you can do is just go into this input box, just type whatever that logic is, and it is a little bit complex. So it's going to start with If the total order is more than 2,000 and the category is B, then provide a discount of 10%. If the total is more than 200 and the category is A, then provide a discount of 25%, but only if the quantity is more than 10. Otherwise, just provide a 10% discount. So this is quite complex. And if I send this to Copilot to create a custom formula for me, it's going to do it. So let's go ahead and give it a try and see what it actually creates. So it actually not only created the custom formula, but it also added the column name and the correct data type that I need. So looking at this here, yes, so total is higher than 2,000 and category B. Sure. Then total times 0.9, so there's a 10% discount. Else if total is higher than 200 and category is equals to A. There's more formula that perhaps I'm not really too sure about what it actually does. And the reality is that perhaps I don't even need to. I can just go into my preview and see if the results actually make sense to me. Yes, they do make sense to me. I verified this beforehand. This is more of a cooking show. But yeah, so this actually makes sense to me. But let's go ahead and actually figure out what this is actually doing, because we also have another feature. I can right-click this query, and I can have this new entry point that I have here called Explain this query. So if I click on that, it's going to open up the Copilot window, and it's going to try to explain what this query does. So this is quite a simple query, but we have a source step. You create a table from a compressed JSON entity, change column, and then we have this added custom, which actually added the column with conditional logic for discounts based on total and category values. Now, this is quite similar to what I had before. If I just open Copilot and I click on describe this query and send this, it will give me the same response. It's just that it's closer to me because I can right click the query and get this. Of course, I can run this with more complex queries, and it will give me an explanation as to what the actual query does.
Awesome. So
situation.
I just want to make sure that I let everyone know that what you just saw was actually made in real time. So everything that you just saw, it wasn't just magic. Copilot is just that fast in providing the formula, and you can even test it with other more complex scenarios that you might actually have. So yeah, it's definitely one of the cooler functionalities that I've been a part of for quite some time, and really it is quite powerful. And yeah, so that is one of them that we actually have currently in public preview. The other one, which is called Explain this query, is going to come out pretty soon. So this is more of a sneak preview. But yeah, this is it. So I'm going to show it over to Fatima for the ending.
Thank you so much, Mike and Connie, for the amazing demos. To summarize, we want to empower you to do more with less by harnessing the full potential of generative AI. We want it to be discoverable. Next. We want you to help get the support in context from this assistance and provide you non-intrusive and contextual support and help you define the outcome with its endless capabilities. Next. And I think that is all for today. Thank you, everyone.